Falco Canine Academy. Oh my gosh, I did it again. Yes, I do have a couple shows I do, and I get the names mixed up. As a matter of fact, yesterday, if you didn't notice, the day 5 was a recording of a Facebook Live I did yesterday, but I unfortunately put it to the wrong Facebook group. And so I'm sure the people in my audience in the Facebook Live TV show was wondering, why is this dog training video occurring inside this Facebook page? It's because I selected the wrong thing. It's easy to do because the list is very long and it's easy to click on the wrong one. But anyway, here I am, day 6, kind of, like I said before. We're operating off of what would normally be like our 6th day of training, but because of a few things that got in the way and some other stuff, it's probably I'm pretty close, probably maybe a day or 2 off. But in actuality, we may be a little bit ahead of the game with Charlie. He's picking up things really well. I've gone through all the little tiny bits of tennis ball. So I went from the whole tennis ball to a half and a half of a half and half of a half of a half and so on. And now we are, as you can, if you watched day 5 video, the one titled day 5, we went to just straight bed bugs and no tennis ball in the same cinder block as the bed bugs. So we are, I think, probably a day and a half ahead of schedule. So things are going really well. But first of all, what I want to do is I want to make sure and welcome you to Falco Canine Academy. I always forget to make sure that I make that very clear. This is Falco Canine Academy is the home office of a lot of training that has taken place over the last 30 years. We have pet dog training. One of those is Falco Canine Training Orange County. It's headed by Gina, who is our lead trainer there, and Derek. Both of them longtime trainers of Falco Canine Academy, who are running the pet dog training program, and they are doing a fantastic job. So if you have any pet dog needs and training, definitely they are the people that will help you out and make sure that you make a difference in your dog's life and create a loving and respectful relationship with your dog. All right, so welcome to Falco Canine Academy. If you like our videos, if you've been watching our videos, I would be fantastic if you would just go on this Facebook page up on your upper right-hand corner if you're on your computer. I'm not sure where it is on your phone. I don't have my phone with me, or else I would show you where that's at. Just if you wouldn't mind clicking 5 stars, that would be great. And then if you want to write something very cool or something like that, that would be awesome. But always, I think we do have a wide audience. I look sometimes and see up to 300-400 people watching these videos. So if we can get at least a fraction of you to click on those stars, that would be fantastic. You're watching for a reason. You either like it or you're watching it because you don't like it and you're I don't know, you're into pain or something like that. But if you're watching them and you're watching them on a regular basis, it would be great if you would give us some 5 stars up there. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure and always remind you that we have a free training report that's available to you. It is on how to train your dog with love and respect. I'm going to put it right here in the comment section, so you can click on that link. All you need to do is put in your name and email address, and that report will be sent to you in your email box. And so that will be available to you. And so I always want to make sure and let people know, because there's always somebody watching that has not watched before that's watching you. So right now where I'm in my studio right now, and then in a moment, I'm going to grab Charlie and we're going to go into the training area and I'm going to show you the training. And what we're going to be looking for today, this is a pretty exciting day, is because we're going to see if Charlie is going to sit on a zone. This is where this typically happens. So I thought, why not shoot a live video and see? Not many dog trainers would put themselves in a position. Oh, I just dropped my wireless microphone. That is not good. That is not a cheap mistake. Don't ever do that. Don't drop your wireless mic if you can't afford to replace it. So the aspect of putting something out there that we have no idea if the outcome is going to be what we want. What we would ideally like to see is Charlie to go to the odor and sit on a zone without me having to tell him. We're a little bit early for that, but I wanted to make sure and put it in to see, so you can see what it's like and feel maybe the excitement of a dog actually making the connection that, oh, this guy for some reason wants me to let him know that this is the right place, or the only way I'm going to get him to give me the toy is if I sit down, thereby flipping the switch that makes the toy automatically appear, right? There's something that happens in the dog brains that he realizes that's what it is. And I'm looking for from him, is that when he finds the order that we've been trying to get him to imprint, that he understands that, hey, if I now sit for some reason that toy magically appears. Now, we have not done a bunch of repetitions. We've done 4 or 5 repetitions of him getting to the odor and showing me that he recognized the odor without the tennis balls being present. And I've been giving him the command to sit. So here's about the time that if it's going to happen, it will happen, right? If it's not going to happen, then we just simply go back to giving him the word sit, or I begin to give a little bit of pressure on that collar in the direction that would normally be a sit correction. And so I can do one or the other or both, depending on where I think the dog's level of making that connection is. And if I can get away from the words sooner than later, I'd rather get away from the word of sit and get to more of it just being a simple hint of maybe a leash correction to get him to understand that when he gets to that odor that we're trying to train him, he's supposed to sit. So we're going to see. I'm going to roll the dice, not throw it. I could throw the dice too, but I could roll the dice and see what's happening. Added a picture of Ollie. Hey. Oh, nice. All right. We have a picture of Ollie now. Very cool. Way to go, Chris. All right. There's Ollie. There's one of our students, our former students, the dog and the handler. Find It Canine Detection in South Carolina. Remind me. I don't know why I can't remember that. I should remember because it's either North Carolina or South Carolina. But just remind us of where you are from, Chris. And always feel free to put a URL so people can find out more about you. So we're going to find out what that's at. One thing, I was with a client today. She brought her dog. She bought her dog from somebody else, which happens. It's not that big of a deal. But she got a dog, and it's a German Shepherd. You know, this woman is one of the most awesome people that I know. She's up there in age. I'm not sure. How do you put this when you're talking about a woman? And because I know she's probably going to watch this. So she's older than I am, and by a few years, and she's very slight. She's only about this tall, and she's very thin, petite, I guess is the better way of putting that. And she got a dog that weighs probably about 10 pounds more than she does, a German Shepherd. Very strong dog. She wants a dog for explosive detection work. She buys a dog from this company that I had a part in at some point as being trained by them, not as a business or anything like that. And have North Carolina. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, Find It Detection, Find It Canine Detection in North Carolina. It's because I was in South Carolina before you came down here, and I think that's why I got it mixed up. I was in South Carolina testifying in a court case. Chris is from North Carolina. But anyway, so I often confuse that. So I apologize, Chris. One of these days I'll remember. So she's very slight build. She gets a dog that weighs probably 10 to 20 pounds more. And the dog has energy. The dog's only 2 years of age. It acts like it's 6 months old, but in an adult body, and just is a monster. And she comes to me today, and I don't know why she went, but it happens all the time. So she gets this dog. She goes, I got this dog. And they told me that, they give me this dog. They supposedly train for bombs. And they told me they don't train obedience because it'll ruin the dog's desire to search. And I said, are you kidding me? That is, I hear this, and that you would think that I would stop hearing it at some point, because I've been railing against this since I can remember. I must have been in my 20s when I first said, training a dog obedience does nothing to ruin detection work or protection work or any kind of work for that matter. It actually makes it better. And when I hear this, it's either laziness, which it probably is more than anything else. They're just freaking lazy people that they just don't want to take the time to train obedience. Now, the truth is that you can do it too early in the training, or if you wanted to build up. So Chris's dog is a perfect example. I'm glad he's on here. So Ollie, he had a problem with the leash, right? So he's never been on a leash before. He thought it was a snake following him, that kind of stuff. And so the last thing I want to do with his dog is do obedience when we're trying to get the dog to learn how to search for the odor and to show desire for the odor. But it wasn't because obedience itself would ruin the dog. It's the leash that he was having difficulty with. And so one of the things we use to train obedience is a leash. But that didn't mean I wasn't also making him sit to eat his food, which we all make our dogs do. The dogs must sit before we feed them the food. But it depends on what it is you're doing. It's not the obedience that ruins the dog. It's how you do obedience, and when you do obedience, then that can slow down your detection, training, and work. So every dog is individual. So in the case of Ollie, because he had a problem with the leash, we held off doing the obedience that would cause us to put emphasis on the leash, because it was the leash that was going to cause him to not do the detection work. It wasn't the fact that we were training obedience. Two completely different things, right? We still ended up doing obedience when Chris got here. That was one of the things we worked on when he got here. He said, okay, listen, I couldn't use the leash in a way that was going to cause any negativity while we were training him the behaviors of searching, of imprinting the odor, of showing him, what the job was in regard to searching a room, or a couch or an item, and so we didn't want the dog thinking about the leash, because he had an issue with the leash. And so again, it wasn't the obedience that we were avoiding; it was the act of using the leash that he had a problem with, that we didn't want to cause any problems early on during the relationship. But as soon as Chris got here, we began working with obedience, and we did a really serious series of obedience training towards the end of his time here, Chris and Ollie, along with the other dog and the other handler. There was one day where I think it was about an hour, maybe an hour. It might have been 45 minutes. I can't remember. Chris may remember, but it was a significant time where we just laid the dogs out in regard to obedience, and I don't mean it in a negative way. And we just really put some pressure on them to do some obedience. It changed nothing for their desire to search. Nothing. As a matter of fact, you can use obedience to build up their desire to do detection work. You can use obedience to build up their desire to do protection work. To say that obedience ruins a dog, that you can't train a detection dog or protection dog obedience because they won't do those things anymore, is complete bogus bull cocky. It's a bullshit. It's a bullish statement. Not a bullish. It's a bull statement. It's so stupid. And I don't understand it. Again, it's laziness, naivete. They listen to other trainers. Sometimes handlers are a product of whoever was there before them. So it's of other handlers who are lazy and they don't want to be shown up by this handler doing obedience. There's nothing better than watching a SWAT dog. And one of the things that I was told when I had my dog is that there was nothing better watching my dog do obedience. I never said a word to him, because we became a SWAT. We were one of the first SWAT team dogs on the planet back in the day, because SWAT team was new, and so the dogs coming in about 4 or 5 years after that was brand new. Nobody thought, well, why would we need a dog in a SWAT deployment? Well, there is a need for a dog in a SWAT deployment. You see it all the time now. You see it in the military. And I really believe that at that time, Anaheim and myself were on the beginning stages of this thing. And we also learned how to give our dogs command without saying a word. So it was this thing that they saw, this great obedience, and we never said a word. When I took a knee, the dog would down. When I would move forward with my left leg, the dog would heel. When I would leave the dog with my right leg, the dog would stay. When I would do a hand signal like this, the dog would come and down right next to me. If I was in a prone, the dog would come down and lay right down next to me. It was this obedience that made his skill as a biting dog, as a searching dog that would find people and bite them. It made it so much better. He was so much better after we trained obedience. It wasn't that he was less. There are so many dogs that are so much better after you train obedience in a way that makes sense to them and is clear to them. And it is in a way that's not tearing them down. Now, surely, if your obedience training tears a dog down, destroys the dog's desire to work because you're an a-hole, then of course the dog's not going to work for you. That's what they're talking about. And I know this training facility. I know these people. And many times that is the method of training they use. They tear a dog down to get obedience, as opposed to train a dog obedience by building him up and showing him that if you do this, you get this. If you do this, you go there. If you do this, eventually you're going to do the thing you really want to do, right? You're using obedience to get that desire, to build that desire to do something else. You're not tearing a dog down so that they say, screw you, I'm not working for you. Yes, if you do it that way, then for sure it destroys any relationship you have with your dog. So when I hear this, when she comes to me and says, oh, they said that, they don't want to ruin the dog, I just like, are you freaking crazy? Are you kidding me? Not are you crazy, my customer, but the person who told her that. All right, I'll calm down. Breathe. All right. So we're going to get, I almost called Charlie Chris. We're going to get Charlie out of the crate. And we're going to just go through a little bit of explanation of what it is we're going to do. We're going to take it easy. Nothing that we're going to do. Well, let me tell you over there, because this is one of the things that can come up. And so we're going to grab our leash here. It's already on the dog. We're going to bring him out of the crate. This dog has a lot of energy. Obedience is not going to hurt this dog whatsoever. So in detection work, the great thing about detection work, why is the, hold on, maybe my camera ran out of power. Hold on. I'll be right back. Stand by. Nobody go anywhere. Let me put the dog back in the crate. Stand by. We have a power problem. Don't go anywhere. Let me go ahead and bring back the picture. Sorry, 1 second. Obviously, my camera ran out of power. Just 1 second. Stay with me. I got to go in the house, get another battery. I was afraid that was going to happen. And before I went live, I even told myself, hey, Andy, don't forget to check the power on the battery to make sure that you have enough. All right. All of you just talks amongst yourself. Talks amongst yourselves. I learned English in a public school. Talk amongst yourselves. So this is a Lumix that I'm using for my secondary camera. It's connected by a HDMI micro connector to my Blackmagic web presenter. I know this is all tech talk. All right, very good. All right. Oh, shoot. Forgot I got to connect one more thing to it. All right, at least we know it's working now. Stand by. I know all of it. Chris is probably laughing at me. You know, I got a comment the other day. You know, I love your training videos because I love it when your tech goes all wrong and you just laugh at yourself and your tech problems. I'm not sure if that's good. I'm not quite sure if that is necessarily a really good thing. All right. All right. Change batteries. It looks like it's out of focus. Is it out of focus? Hold on. One more thing. Let me just make sure that it's in focus. Yeah, I know I don't have a card in there. I know that. There we go. Okay. Let's try this again. Take two. This is what they talk about live TV. When you do things live on TV, that anything can happen. All right. Back to the training. All right. What I was going to say in detection work, it's a good thing I had my little screen turned around so I could see it. I saw that it was black, so thank God I knew that my camera had gone bad. So the one thing about detection work, as long as you do it right, if there's a mistake that's made, remember we've had, the ball falls out of your armpit and falls on the ground and bounces off somewhere, or your timing is bad, or what else can happen? The leash could come off and the dog go running around, that kind of stuff. In most cases, in detection work, it's all mostly positive. Unlike bite work, where you can actually do some things that are pretty harsh, right? And the dog gets hit with things, and the dog can bite, the decoy on accident, and then you got to get the dog off really fast, and you may hurt the dog in that process and stuff. So there's all kinds of things that are negative that can actually harm your progress. In relationship to detection dogs, most of it is positive. So in most cases, when something goes wrong, you just have to kind of recover from the dog doing something that he wanted to do instead anyway, and then recover from that, because then the dog can learn, well, if I do that other thing I want anyway, I'm still going to get rewarded. So it's easier to recover in detection work when something goes wrong. So let's say that when we're searching work, you can see right now it's in that second cinder block from the right. Is the odor. Let's say the dog goes over there and doesn't sit right away, or maybe just completely blows by it. Maybe today, for whatever reason, the dog's decided, I forgot what that odor was, and I'm not willing to even stop and even show you that I even recognize it any longer. If that happens, it's not the end of the world. We just take a couple steps back, put the tennis ball pieces back in there, reboot, have the dog go, oh, okay, now I'm reminded of what I was looking for and what I'm supposed to be doing, and then you begin from there. So it's never a lost cause, where when a dog gets hurt, especially a young dog, it can set you back really far. And I've seen cases where dogs got hurt during protection training, and the dog never recovers. That's happened on occasion. So at least in detection work, that rarely happens. All right. So we're going to see if Charlie's going to sit on his own. And so I'm not going to say anything the first time to see what happens. If it looks like he's thinking, I may give him a little bit of a hint with the leash, just like that. Do you see how little I gave him and he sat? I may do something like that. I don't think I'm going to use the word. I don't think, but you never know. All right. Hey, right here. Search. So he thought he heard something. That's why he's looking around, looking for the tennis ball, because he thought that maybe it was the sound of my foot taking a step, that he thought he heard something. And that's perfectly fine. That's all part of the process. Dude, he's got the stare. I almost want to reward that. Nice! Nice! Oh, it fell in the cinder block. It fell in the cinder block. Nice! Did you see that process? This is the greatest part of training. This is the things that excite me and keep me going, is that his thought process. He found, remember, there's only live bed bugs in there. Only live bed bugs. He stuck his head in there. He was staring at it. His brain, if you hear thinking, it would sound like a little motor going, you know, trying to figure out what is it supposed to happen, or that sound that a modem used to make when you used to be connect. You know, that, you know, he's trying to think about that thing. He's staring at it. The process of thinking is going through his head. I give him a little bit of a little upward thing. Again, he thinks through it and he sits. Nothing better. Now, here's the hard part. Do I continue? Do I do another one and see what happens, or do I quit? I'm asking you. Do I do another one, or do I quit? Right, we quit for now. We're going to come back in just a second and do it again. But for now, we're just going to take a little bit of a break and then come back and do it. Nice, nice. I'm going to actually even throw it for him so he can go and chase it, have a little bit more fun with that ball to make sure that he understands that was the greatest thing in the world. That was so nice. The other thing he can feel from me is my energy, my excitement level. Hi. Okay, good. Good. Nice. Oh. Crazy man. All right, that was so good. That was so good. Okay. Good boy. All right, I'll stop yelling in the mic in a second. Hold on. Okay. Nope. Nice. Put it in my pocket. Grab some kibble. Goes in on his own. Nicely done. All right, let me go back over here. I'm going to fix that cinder block that got tilted over. Remember that each one we have a plastic bag and a vial. This one happens to have a couple dead bed bugs in it. We'll put it right there. Nice. All right, let's come back over here. Oh, my God. After all these years, I still get excited when it goes well. I mean, there's nothing better. I had a feeling when we were doing some training a little while ago that step was coming, that he was going to work things out, and I was going to barely have to give him a hint. So the whole idea, if you didn't get a chance to see day 5, I think that's the one where I talked about knowing when to stop an exercise, is when you have a repetition, even if it's the first one, where you have something happen that's better than the last repetition. And in most cases, you're going to stop and take a break. Let the dog have the moment where he's thinking about it. Hey, that was pretty cool. I felt the excitement of Dad. He was so happy and clapping his hands and throwing the ball a couple extra times. And that dog really feels that energy of when something goes well. And it really seems to make that connection, or help make the connection with the dog, with what his new job is, this new thing, this new adventure that he's trying to figure out. What the hell is this? The dog in his head, I don't understand what smelling each one of these cinder blocks and that one odor that seems to have some emphasis to this man who's handling this leash, that he seems to like it when I find this one odor, this live bed bug odor. And of course he doesn't smell a bug, he just smells an odor that he recognizes now because there's no tennis ball there, right? It's been almost a full day since there's been a tennis ball in that cinder block, because I'm not it's so naive to think that there isn't some odor left over in that cinder block. But there's tennis ball odor in all those cinder blocks. They've all contained a tennis ball at some point. They've all contained live bed bugs at some point. They've all contained food at some point, or some other substance. They've all been peed on. And so these odors begin to get blended together. But in this one block, there's fresh there's actual live bed bugs in that block where that odor has been now in that one block. Those live bed bugs have been in there every day. I check on them, make sure they're still alive. They are still alive, and they all still crawling around in there and moving around. And so this is one of those days where the dog goes, I'm at the right block, that I always get this tennis ball, because you can see him kind of looking around like, where is it? Then you see him staring at it, right? He's just beginning to stare at it, and you hear those wheels turning in his head. Just hear him turning and turning and turning, and I give a little thing, and he goes, oh, wait, that reminds me. And you see the dog slowly sit as he's thinking, like, is this the thing I'm supposed to be doing? And bam, the tennis ball comes out and we go, that's it, right? And so when that happens, because that was better than what happened yesterday, as far as the understanding, we end that series of exercises and we wait. We can come back and do another series of exercises, or maybe we don't. Maybe we let the dog end on that. We feed him and that kind of stuff. I'm going to actually come back and do another one. It's kind of makes my stomach churn because I probably in normal cases would not do that. But he's doing so well. It's not, again, even if he doesn't, it's not going to cause that big of a deal. So if any of you have any questions or anything, see the last entry in there is from North Carolina. We may, again, I don't know why some of my syndication isn't working. I don't know for sure if we're not in some of those other pages that we normally would be in, like the bed bug page and the Healthy Dog Network or any of those other pages that we normally syndicate to. So if you want to comment so that I can see it, you need to go to Falco Canine Academy's Facebook page, right? Just in case. Let's see. I'm going to look and see if it's actually sharing this time. Oh yeah, it looks like we're in there. Aldo's watching from Argentina. Jennifer Lancy. Nice. Oh, wait, we are on some of the other pages. So if you want to comment so that I can see it, please feel free to comment in the proper page, which is the Falco Canine Academy Facebook page. It'll just be easier for me to see that in that page. But anyway, that was beautiful. It was really beautiful. And so we're not that far away. Tomorrow I got to fly to Washington, the state of Washington. So I'll have some of my trainers come in and take care of Charlie for a day. And then I come back on Friday. And then I think what we'll end up doing is probably go right to doing interior searches of homes. He's progressing so quickly and doing so well. We've had very few mistakes. We've had very few incidences where something bad has happened. So I was trying to think of what a negative instance that can happen. You know, on these cinder blocks, they're not foolproof. I've had dogs pull one over, you know, with one paw and it land on their paw and it really smart. And now they hesitate at going towards the cinder blocks because they're afraid they're going to fall over on them, not realizing that they were the ones who caused it to fall on their paw. And so that's one of the things that as an example of how in detection dog work, an accident could set you back a little bit because now you're having to spend time to reintroduce the cinder blocks to dogs. We've had dogs that won't go near the cinder blocks. We've used plastic buckets. Aldo and I have experienced dogs that for some reason just don't like certain things. And so when you're using that as your primary tool for training a detection dog, because this obviously is one of my primary tools that I use when I'm trying to train a dog other than narcotics. Narcotics is easier because you can actually make a toy out of those narcotics. The bed bugs is a little bit harder. It tends to work better doing this type of training. And so the cinder blocks is one of those things. I'm trying to think what else we've used. There's scent boxes with a sliding glass partition that when the dog finds the right one, you pull that up and the toy falls through and the dog comes and gets it and you play a little tug of war. We've had dogs that won't go near those things. They don't like the noise that thing makes when it slides up. They don't like all the extra stuff that happens and they will not go near one of those things. And we've had dogs that we can never, I think only one though, maybe two. But I know for sure we had one dog that would not go near any of those boxes. Eventually he kind of did, but it never was really one of those tools we could use with that dog. That tool is great for teaching the dog to work through distractions. You put a bunch of tennis balls in all the other boxes so the dog can see the tennis balls and smell them, but only goes to the box that has the odor in it and gets rewarded by his toy, whatever that toy is, a tug of some sort or something like that. So, all right. So normally I would wait a little bit longer than what I'm about to do, but I'm going to go back over there and we're going to do this one more time and we're going to see where Charlie is. Now, he can make a genius out of me and go over there and sit right away. And that would be great if he would do that. Or he can simply not do anything and I have to give him a sit command to get him to sit. But let's see where we're at on this one. And to make sure I have my tennis ball, I do. All right, let's go over there back to the training area. It looks like that's blurry. I'm sorry if it's blurry over there, but remember the camera turned off, and so it may have reset my focusing settings. All right, come on, Charlie. Let's make this happen. Let's see what happens over here. Okay, got the tennis ball. Boink. Now we don't always have to bounce it at some point, and I think the dog already has the idea that he's going to play this game. Search. Good. Thinking. Again, this isn't hurting him any. Reconfirming. Give a little bit of pressure. Nice! 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 What a good boy! So good! So good! So good. He likes to play tug of war with this ball. There we go. Good. Nice. Good boy. Good boy. Nice. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So now, since that one wasn't significantly better than the last one, based on the philosophy, right, we were going to repeat and see if we can get it a little bit better this time. So, again, this is always a little bit risky. No. Nice. Search. Now, I know I didn't move it, but he's still searching the other ones. Again, thinking. Checking the other one, making sure he didn't get it wrong. Is it the right one? Nice. Good. As he destroys everything in the garage. All right, so that was still we're still got a little bit of a ways to go, but it's still pretty good, right? I'm just barely giving a little bit of tug. Let's do one more, see where he's at. It's not going to hurt us to do another one because again, we're not doing anything very negative. Nice. Search. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Nice. Good boy. Very good. Very good. Nice. Nice job, buddy. Nice job. Good boy. Good boy. So good. What a good boy. Oh, nice one. Nice one. Nope. Nice. Good boy. Good boy. Very good. All right, I'm going to let him take the ball outside and enjoy it for a little bit. I'll go out there and get it in a little bit. Good boy. Go on. Outside. Good boy. All right, we're going to let him run around with that outside for just a little bit. He's not a popper, so he doesn't pop the balls. Nice. All right. I'm all out of breath. Got a little bit of a chest cold, so that's my excuse for being out of breath. Nice. You can do it. Yes, he did it. That was nice, right? So you see the progress as the dog thinks through things. That last one, I barely gave a little bit of a tug, just a slightest upward correction, just to make sure that we had a little bit faster connection between the dog finding the odor and then sitting. That last one was the best out of all of them, right? I would be a crazy man if I went and tried to do that one more time, because what would happen? The delay would be greater, and now we end up going backwards as opposed to going forwards. And so the genius of me was that we came back, I'm just kidding. We came back and did it again with a little bit of a break. Do you see how those breaks are powerful? You have a session that goes well. Nice. You quit, you go back, the dog resets. The dog is now sitting in his crate. Ideally it would be away from the training area, but again, we're on television and we're live television where I run out of battery on my camera. It's enough of a break that we come back and he's able to continue with the exercise. This time he goes back, just takes a little step back, right? It took a little bit longer on that first repetition. The next one, it was about the same. Maybe, I can't remember about it. If it had somebody with a timer, I'd be able to tell you. It was pretty close to the same the second time. And then the third time, way faster, right? It was a fraction of the time that it took the first and second time of the second series. And just a slight, if you go back and watch the replay, you see I slightly just moved that leash. I'm not even sure I had to do that. There's a little bit of me that thinks he might have sat on his own, but I think he did feel a little bit of pressure. So it's really hard to tell. You never really know. But that's how you progress through training, because you want to make sure and do repetitions that are successful and end on success, as close as possible to ending on success. And then you move on to the next thing. And that's how your training goes until you get to the point where now we're searching a room. We eventually do our training and searching off leash and on leash. So we do both. And we want the dog to understand that it's his job to show us where everything's at. It's not my job to show him where it's at. That's why I wait for him to stick his nose in there. I see so many trainers, clicking, snapping their fingers and pointing at the thing. You need to sniff in here. You need to sniff in here. It drives me crazy, because you should not, after the beginning, have to show your dog what he's supposed to do. Dogs know how to sniff. They have a very powerful nose that they've used ever since came out of, as soon as they came out of the womb, they started using their nose. Their eyes are shut. They're glued shut by the butt, and they have to eat. And the first thing they're doing is using their nose to find mom's nipple so they can feed, right? They're not finding it because they're looking for it. They don't know what to look for. They've never seen a nipple before. They've been on the inside of the stomach. The dog is looking for the thing that will get them some food, and they got to use their nose right out of the womb. The dogs are using their nose. This is the first thing. There may be a little bit of the ears in there, but the first thing they're using to have something that satisfies a natural need and desire, right, is the nose. The nose is the thing that goes to work first. And so the dogs, am I excited? I don't feel well, and I'm excited. But that went well. That's the thing. And I love it when we can get off these cinder blocks, right? So we've been on these cinder blocks not that long, about what is it, 6 days? 6 days on the cinder blocks. No, 4 days on the cinder blocks. 2 days is spent doing other stuff. But about 4 days on cinder blocks. I get tired of using them, just like I'm sure the dog gets tired of sticking his nose in there. And when he sticks it in too far, it probably hurts his face, his forehead, as it hits the edge on the inside of those cinder blocks. So I think the dog also is excited when he's doing something that he hasn't done 100 times. Well, close, 50 times. And so we're going to be able to move on. We may run through this exercise one more time before bedtime tonight. And then, like I said, tomorrow I got to fly out to Washington. The great thing about toy reward as opposed to food reward, and sometimes food reward it works the same way, but as far as, toy reward goes, let's just say toy reward, not versus, because I don't want to even get into that right now, is that you can take a break and it doesn't change anything. I can come back on Saturday and do training, and we continue right where we left off the last time. There really is not a drop off, because I had to go to Washington for 2 days and do some work out there in Washington. Nothing changes. We come right back on. The dog continues on from where we left off, and that's the great thing about this type of training. Hey, Sally, he made you look. Yes, he made me look good. That's always the case, right? That is the name of being in the dog world. That was one of the first things I learned as a canine handler at Anaheim Police Department. Is that everybody liked the dog. Everybody wanted to see the dog. Nobody wanted to see me. Everybody was impressed by what the dog could do. Little did they know that the training took place. I did the training. So, but it's all about the dog, right? And same thing here. The dog, and again, the selection of the dog is so important. Finding the right dog to do the job. There's not enough emphasis on that. I still, I don't know why some of the things happen in the dog world. I've selected the wrong dog. I know that I've had the wrong dog and tried to make it work. I've tried to do that myself, and it's just, I don't know why. At least I learned from trying to do that. I go, I'm never doing that again. It's too much stress. It's too, it's because sometimes we get caught up in our heart. Like this dog looks like he wants to be good. He looks like he wants to work. And you try to make something work that really should not work. And you learn that it really is about selecting the right dog. And some people get kind of frustrated because it can take us a long time to find the right dog. We can go through a lot of dogs in a lot of time. I know Chris has a tough time sometimes, because I'll call him. I say, I need a dog, yesterday. And he'll say, I'm trying, buddy. I'm really trying to find a dog, because he knows that there's a lot of criteria that I have for the type of dog that I want. He has a high standard for the type of dog he wants to sell me. Put those two things together, it's hard to find a dog that matches both of our desires and what it is we need to have as a dog. Because the last thing he wants is an email or phone call from me saying, Chris, you got to take this dog back. This dog doesn't work, right? Nobody wants that call. And we all want to, Chris watches our videos, and he wants to see the dog that he selected, that I looked at the videos and also said, I think you're right. I think that really is a good dog. He wants that to work, right? He wants that to continue to work. And so the finding the right dog is so much a key of all the success. Even a horrible trainer such as myself, with the right dog, it's hard to mess up, right? And so the dog, like Sally said, the dog makes you look good because you have the right dog with everything the dog needs, all the traits that you look for in a dog, the desire to hunt, no matter what, no matter how stupid this seems to the dog. Like, I don't know this guy, I'm going to do it. I don't know why he wants me smelling these cinder blocks like this. And I don't know why he wants me finding that odor, because I've never smelt that odor. Do you think this dog has ever smelt live bed bugs before, ever in his life? Do you think he has any interest in doing that? No. When I testify in court, I hear things like, the dog is so smart that he knows how to do that. The dog has no idea what marijuana. The dog's never used marijuana. The dog's never used heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine. The dog has no idea that he's crushing crime or putting people in jail, right? The dog has no idea. But the people, we as human beings, we want to put all of our human thoughts on, oh, the dog is so smart. He really wants to, he wants to put those bad guys. He loves chasing bad guys. Now the dog loves to bite, right? There's dogs, we've trained them to bite, and they love to bite. They're satisfying this thing that we've created in them in many cases. Like my police dog, he didn't really want to bite. It was hard to get him to bite in the beginning, but I eventually was able to overcome some of the bad training I got from the trainer we were with, and able to put in some good solid training, and the dog learned to enjoy biting bad guys, right? It was a satisfaction of doing that exercise of running after somebody, biting them and taking them down to the ground, right? It wasn't for the dog putting that guy in jail. He didn't realize that the guy was a bad guy. He only knew that it excited dad, and it was really, really fun for him to do it, right? That's all the dog knows. And so I'm not trying to take down what it is that these dogs are accomplishing, because their noses, a dog's nose is an amazing, amazing thing. Let me go get one of those bed bugs so you can see what it is the dog is looking for. As I go off camera again, this is the worst video example. So never use this video as an example of what it is you're supposed to do on a Facebook Live. But if I can, let me see if I can do this. There you go. You see that little tiny bed bug in there? That's what this dog found that was different in that cinder block as opposed to the rest. Do you see those two? I think there's two that you can see right there. That's 2 of the 5. So there's 3 on this side and 2 on that side. So that was 2. Wait a minute, there might be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bed bugs. You see how small that is? Hold on, here I come. There we go. See how small that bug is? And see it moving around? That is all that dog is differentiating from the rest of those cinder blocks. And this is no BS, right? There's dead bed bugs in some of those other blocks. There's other vials like this one. He didn't stop at any of those. The only one he's stopping at is the one that has the live bed bugs in it. That's how powerful this dog's nose is. That brings me to another pet peeve that I had today. The same explosive detection dog, the customer wanted the dog to find bullets. And she says, this dog can't find bullets. And she says, she asked the trainer, and the trainer said, well, the dog's never been trained to find bullets. Well, I said, has the dog been trained to find black powder or smokeless powder? And she says, yeah, that's one of the first things they use. Well, then the dog can find bullets. She goes, but the dog can't. I said, well, I don't know. They must have used a pseudo, because there can be a loss of connection between pseudo explosives and real explosives, which are found in a bullet, right? And so there's this drop off, this weird space where the dog cannot make the connection between pseudo and real explosives. Now, if a dog is trained on real explosives, the dog oftentimes can find pseudo, because pseudo is missing the thing that makes the explosive go boom, right? So the pseudo is everything except for the boom, right? There's no way you can make pseudo explosives go boom, no matter what it is you try to do. No matter if you know the other 2 components that are required to make something go boom, even if you had those, the pseudo would never go boom. Why? Because it's missing something, right? In the real explosives, it has all the components. So that's probably where the drop off is. But instead, what the trainers say, well, it's different. The dog was trained on these items that you can find in a bullet, but the dog needs to be trained on bullets. Well, no, the same thing that you trained the dog supposedly on is in the bullet. The dog should have found it. So there you go. Welcome to Andy's Rants today on day 6 of Charlie's training. And the excitement of the dog doing a really good job today just adds to my rants. All right, so I see that Chris was encouraging the dog. You can do it. and fantastic. All right, don't forget to go and visit Chris and just see what he's doing over there on his Facebook page or his webpage, and give him encouragement. He's brand new to this, just getting started with his dog, and it's not easy. I always tell people it takes about 1.5 years, 2 years to get really good with your detection dog. Now, do some people get good at it within 6 months? Absolutely. Some dogs get good at it really fast, but in most cases, if you're doing any kind of job, I don't care what it is, it takes 1 year or 2 for you to get really good at it, to where you become just so good at it that you don't even have to think through the process of doing your job, right? There's a in the beginning, you're learning the job, you're learning, how to speak to customers, how to write the reports, how to manage customers and take their invoices and send them their invoices. And then turn their invoices in the receipt, and send them back the receipt. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. So for us, it can take us a long time to learn our job. And then at some point, it just becomes automatic, right? And that sometimes can take a while. There's no difference between working a detection dog and learning, how to work with an animal, his feeding schedule, his water schedule, his poop schedule, his pee schedule. And how do you take a dog that tends to pee and poop on occasion inside of a house when you know that you haven't taken the break that needs to be broke? Understanding that peeing doesn't often have to do anything with having to go pee. It has to do with sex. Understanding all that, and now you're also having to learn the job. It can take a while before it all comes together, and now it becomes automatic. And so Chris is in that stage where he's learning and finding out more about himself and about his dog. And so everybody just I always want to give Chris encouragement to continue on the path and do a good job. All right, Sally, glad that you came and visited, and thank you for the comments. Again, please feel free to give us some 5 stars on there. If anything less than 5, just contact me and let me know what it is you don't like or what you want me to change. That doesn't mean I'm going to change it, but I might. But go ahead and give us some 5 stars in there on the Facebook page. That would be fantastic. It really helps us out. And Facebook, sending out what it is we're doing out to other people that may like what it is we're doing. So the 5 stars really help for us doing it. Your comments also help. When you comment and and I can show the comments like I do on this one, or the URL that you need to use to get into the Training Your Dog with Love and Respect free paper. Those comments are really, really good for Facebook, sending this out, our Facebook page and our Facebook Lives out to people that like dogs and like to hear more about training. So it does help us out. All right. If you're on your phone, I'm not sure. I don't have my phone, so I can't see that. But on the Facebook page on a computer, using Chrome, it's at the top. So you scroll to the top, and on the right-hand side, generally, you'll see a place to, put your 5 stars and tell people what it is you think. And I'm pretty sure that on most browsers, let me just take a look at the Facebook page right now just to make sure that I'm what I'm talking about. It should be. Let me just make sure I'm not giving you bad information. Oh, no, I can't find Falco Canine Academy's Facebook page. There it is. All right. And Sally, thank you for asking, because that is a good question. I keep telling people to do it, but as my computer is thinking here, it's almost there. Stand by. And right after where it says sign up, you'll see a button that says, it's in blue, says sign up. I think right underneath that, you can see ratings, I think it is. And again, it's on my page, so I'm assuming that it's on your page. But again, I'm an admin, so my admin on my page may look different, but it's under reviews. On the left-hand side, on the left-hand column, you may see reviews also. So it could be on the left-hand column underneath the picture of my son and the chocolate lab, or on my page, it's on the right-hand side. So hopefully you'll find it up there. And I really appreciate you taking the time to look. That's half the battle, just getting people to even look at where that is. All right, I am sweating because I am so excited. I got a tennis ball from Charlie. I hope you enjoyed this session. I had fun doing it. I'm not sure if that means you guys enjoy watching it, but I know that I have a lot of fun doing them sometimes. And this is one of those times where I really enjoyed this particular training session. So again, tell your friends, subscribe, share it with anybody that you think might like to watch dog training and a crazy man run around and whose battery and his cameras go out in the middle of the broadcast. If people like seeing that, then this is the right place to be. All right, I'll see you at the next one. Take care. Chris, thanks again also always for joining us. I really appreciate it. All right, take care.